Welcome to the Black Sparrow Media Internet Broadcast Network.
You are listening to Linux in the Ham Shack. LHS is a podcast about Linux, open source, and amateur radio for everyone. Now here are your hosts, Russ, K52UX, Cheryl, W5MOO, and Bill, NE4RD.
Well, hello everybody and welcome. You have tuned in to episode number 447 of Linux in the Ham Shack. This is our second episode back in the new year of 2022, and we want to welcome you into the most terrific amateur radio podcast on the internet. This is our short topics episode, so we should probably just steam right ahead and get into some of those short topics. I'm Russ, K5TUX.
I'm Cheryl, W5MOO.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD.
All right, so we're all the same people. However, being not very proactive, I kind of decided just before doing these recordings that I wanted to change the recording night. And then Bill's like, oh yeah, but I'm going to be in Ireland for 3 months. So just to make things more confusing, we're going to be shifting recording nights after this episode twice in the space of 3 months. But after that, things should stay pretty static. So what's going to happen is, so when are you going? You're going on the 15th, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 15th of January.
So next week we can either keep the same and not change it twice in 3 weeks.
Well, that's true. I guess it's only one more recording, right? So, and I don't believe we have anything going on Thursday. So, yeah.
We have my birthday party on Friday, but I don't think there's anything on Thursday.
Right. Okay, so let's just do it this way. On the next recording, 448, which will be a deep dive, that will be done on Thursday as well. And then Bill will be heading out of country. And so what we will be doing is while he's out of country, we will move recordings to 2 p.m. on Sunday. So that's Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m. Central Time.
Starting on the 23rd.
I'm going to work for the weekender.
Yeah, the Saturday.
I guess we didn't think about that, did we? Yeah. We'd have to do it a week early, yeah. Yeah, so that weekender, we'd record the week, basically the Sunday before the weekend goes out, yeah. That would make sense, yeah. So it's
unfortunate, but we gotta do it anyway, so.
Yeah, so
we'll figure it out.
This will all start on the 23rd.
Right.
Yeah.
And then after that, when you come back, which is what, April sometime? Early April?
Late April, yeah.
Late April. Okay. So once you come back in late April.
So we're going to go visit Bill while he's gone, right?
Well, maybe. But once you come back, and we're all back in the States again, we're going to move the recording night to Wednesday. So it'll still be at 8 p.m. Central Time, but it'll be on Wednesdays, and then hopefully it will stay Wednesdays going forward for the foreseeable future. That way it won't interfere with all of the things that it interfered with last year on both of our sides, because we don't really have anything going on Wednesdays, and I don't think you really do either. You don't have...
No, Wednesday's pretty clear, yeah.
Yeah. You know, deployments or plays or, all the crazy things that you were doing on Thursdays, and we don't have all the things that we normally would do on Thursdays, interfering with Thursdays. So...
Yeah, and then I can make the monthly Scout Echolink net that I can never make. That's on Thursdays too. So that'll be nice.
There's a couple of nets that I like to be a part of on Thursdays as well that I haven't been able to do. So, okay. So that all sounds pretty good. So we can consider that our lead topic for tonight. So pay attention to like the website and Twitter and all the social media networks will be announcing, when the changes are and what the recording schedules will be. And so for a while, it'll be on Sunday afternoon, and then it will be on Wednesday night. And we'll update everything accordingly.
Yeah, so after the next episode, 448, we might have like a little delay in the order of the episodes. meaning the weekender technically will probably follow this show in recording and in numeration.
Yeah, well, as soon as we figure out what's actually right, we figure out what's actually going on, we'll everybody know. Yeah,
that first Sunday, we'll figure it out.
Or just pay attention to the feed, and whatever comes up next. So
yeah.
All right. Well, with all of that confusion out of the way, we can get into our short topics for the night, and we'll let Bill start with amateur radio. See what we got going on here for the first little bit of the year.
Of course. Yeah, and this is from the ARRL. The ARRL welcomes a new Director of Emergency Management. The National Association for Amateur Radio is pleased to announce the hiring of Josh Johnston, Kilo Echo 5 Mike Hotel Victor, into the role of Director of Emergency Management. Johnston is from Ozone, Arkansas, and comes to ARRL with 16 years of experience as the Director of Johnson County, Arkansas Department of Emergency Management. He holds an extra class amateur radio license, as well as being an ARRL emergency coordinator, a volunteer examiner, and an ARRL registered instructor. Johnston is also certified in FEMA NIMS, as well as CISA Oxcom, communications unit leader, COML, COML. Yeah, sure. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Emergency Administration and Management from Arkansas Tech University. Johnston will be based at the ARRL's headquarters in Newington, Connecticut, and will be working with staff and member volunteers and coordinating the ARRL's board's new Emergency Communications and Field Services Committee. So, big news from the ARRL.
Yep, absolutely. I don't know how that will affect me in my day-to-day life, but someone has a new post, and apparently he's moving from somewhere I've never heard of in Arkansas to southern Connecticut. So, there you go. Moving on, we have one other topic in our amateur radio segment for tonight. We have 4-band digital SDR transceiver offers high performance for $60. Not too shabby. Amateur radio is a hobby that is often thought of as being exclusive to those with a healthy expendable income. Yeah, for some of us. In recent years, however, the tides have turned. Cheap microcontrollers and signal generators have helped turn things around. And the $60 USD QDX from QRP Labs goes even further by sending the performance to price ratio through the roof. You can see more details in the video below the break, which you'll have to click on the link in the show notes to get to. The QDX is the creation of Hans Summers, who is well known for producing affordable high-performance amateur radio kits that are focused on low-power transmissions called QRP, or QWERP in ham radio parlance. What is it? It's a pocket-sized 4-band, 80 through 20, no work, software-defined radio that is designed to be used with some of the world's most popular digital radio modes, like FT8 and JS8 call, as well as any other FSK-based mode, such as RTTY. It's also been tested to work well and within spec on 60 meters. Ooh, cheap way to get on 60 meters if your radio doesn't do that already. While classic radios have to be connected to a computer through a special hardware interface, the QDX is designed to connect directly to a computer through a standard USB A to B cable. Cat control, PTT, and audio are all handled directly by the QDX, and no special interface is needed. While the radio is essentially plug-and-play, configuration testing and troubleshooting can be done by connecting to the QDX's unique serial console, which, among other things, contains a text-based waterfall. Well, that's kind of cool. I didn't even read this. For those who want to run their own SDR receiver, IQ output can be sent directly through the sound card. Now for the bad news. Due to global chip shortages, yes, the supply chain, as if we have not heard about that too much. The QDX is out of stock at the moment, and there's no telling when they might start shipping again. QRP Labs is looking to source parts wherever they can to get more units made, but of course, so is everyone else right now. And that story was actually a few weeks old. It came from Hackaday, but we didn't talk about it for some reason, so now we have.
Well, I just want to remind everybody on the last episode that I put a Hackaday story in here. I mentioned that these are all freaking ads. These are not stories. And here we are, another Hackaday story that is nothing more than an advertisement for a piece of gear that, hey, you can't even buy because it's not available because of parts. So it's even worse than an ad. It's an ad that just doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't even help the consumer buy some garbage thing.
Well, QRP Labs actually QRP Labs has a pretty good reputation. And honestly, once this thing gets built again, I think it'll be a pretty cool piece of kit, even if the story itself is an actual ad for the kit. So
yeah, definitely native ad. It's not, it's nothing new. It's not like it's a kit you can build. It's a kit you buy and just turn on. So it's a full-blown radio.
Right. Yeah. And it actually sounds like it has some pretty cool features for a tiny little project box, with some parts inside. So
yeah, I'm thinking you can get like, it says 4 bands. So
4 bands. And
60
it says
meters.
It works on 62, but I'm not sure.
5.
Yeah.
5. So you could buy 5 of these for $300 and automate your FT8 station at home and never have to work another FT8 contact again and have it all automated for $300. And what's the version of WSJT-X you're using?
I'm using WSJT-Z.
WSJT-Z. You can download one that's already compiled to run automated, and you can run your beaconing ham radio station for cheap. This is great news.
You're so cynical. But that's exactly how you would do it, isn't it?
Hell yeah. I'll be in Ireland. I'll still be working contacts over here, and I just won't know about it, right?
Right.
Just get it to auto, go to Logbook of the World.
I see the second story here is about Pipewire, so I'm going to read the next one because I have not.
Cheryl can read this one too.
Well, that's true. Cheryl can read this one if Cheryl is not busy doing other things when we're podcasting.
Survey says.
I was face bagging.
Of course. Shocker. I know.
Yeah.
2022 is a lot like 2021, folks. So all right.
Fine.
Well, do you know where we are in the Etherpad?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're at the beginning of segment 3.
Okay. Yes, we are moving into open source topics. And since Bill has thrown you under the bus, you get to read the first one.
Woohoo! Okay, so our first topic is Solus Linux co-lead resigns. About 4 years ago in 2018, Ike Doherty, creator of Solus, left and handed over the project to other developers associated with it due to some personal reasons. Back then, Solus transitioned to new management and brand new infrastructure with core vision intact. Recently, on January 1st, 2022, Joshua Strobel, the main developer of Budgie and the co-lead of Solus Linux distribution, announced that he was leaving the Solus project. Interestingly, Joshua is joining Ike to work on SerpentOS. If you missed the announcement for SerpentOS 2 years ago, you can read more about it on our older coverage for Serpent Linux. While Joshua will continue working on Budgie Desktop, he plans to fork it over to form a new organization, inviting Ubuntu Budgie, Endeavor OS, and others to be partners. The development for Budgie 10 series will continue, and you should also expect Budgie 11 in the future. As mentioned in one of his tweets, this change aims to open Budgie Desktop for projects using it and improving engagement from others, not just downstream. Fortunately, Solus is not going anywhere for the time being, but considering Joshua was the co-lead of the project, this would again require new management and changes to how the team operates decides future changes. And this information came from It's Foss. And there will be more info in the show notes.
Yeah. So, yeah, more drama over at Solus, but it looks like this is a pretty straight move out with Joshua. He's definitely helping everybody with the transition to ensure that there is no disruption and stuff like that with the Solus project. So if you're a Solus user, you're probably just fine. It's just Joshua decided it's time to go a different direction with what he's doing, and it's great that he's going to be getting back together with Ike and maybe helping get SerpentOS moving along, because I've been watching that as well, because I was watching that when Ike left Solus 4 years ago now, so it should be interesting time. So keep your eye out for SerpentOS and be on the lookout for some interesting changes there.
All right, very good. So after commentary, you get to read the next story, since you're the one who's into the Pipewire thing, and this is apparently about the latest release. So what's going on with Pipewire?
Yeah, so this is Pipewire 0.3.43, totally compatible with any 0.3.x series. So pretty much everything that everybody's running right now was just released this week. In fact, as we record this, it was yesterday. So, so Pipewire, it's in everybody's system. If you're not, I don't think LTS Ubuntu has it, but if you're running the latest version, 2110, it definitely is in there. And obviously Fedora and so on and so forth. So Pipewire is everywhere. And if you don't have Pipewire yet, you're going to get Pipewire. So you might as well get used to it. But this is great. So Pipewire has released another version, and tons of fixes, of course, were included in this. Some of the highlights were the Flatpak apps, such as ARRL can now remove links again. Many fixes to the Pulse server. Memory usage should be improved. Some crashes are fixed. Underrun handling should be better. Better compatibility with GStreamer-based applications after seeking. Many of the sample rate and quantum change bugs in previous releases were fixed. And I'm just going to scroll down because none of this other stuff really matters. But the big thing is that those of you that have been having problems with Bluetooth, which are apparently numerous, even those of you that have been using Pulse for years and had Bluetooth issues, they did spend quite a bit of effort in the Bluetooth stack to get this stuff to run a little bit better. So here in the Bluetooth, you got codecs now have priority. They should improve codec selection when handling the fancy streams that you're playing. Pulse server has been updated. The stream fix flags are now implemented. Improve flushing and draining behavior. Fix a crash with enumerating formats. Just many fix, including some with zero conf and stuff like that. So this is all really, really good news for Bluetooth devices in the Pipewire stack and also on Pulse server. So yeah, if you're used to your Bluetooth device being pretty much useless in Linux, there's some light on the horizon. So, of course, this came to us from Free Desktop, where all the release information comes from that. So you can check that out in the show notes and see if you've been having problems with Pipewire lately. Maybe your situation has been addressed.
Wonderful. I'm so glad we moved away from ALSA.
Yes.
because we needed a new sound subsystem. And then after we got a new sound system, we needed a new sound subsystem. So, yeah. That's how it goes. People just can't leave well enough alone. Anyway, hopefully this is good news for the Bluetooth folks. I haven't really had any issue with that because I don't use Bluetooth a whole lot, but we'll see how it goes. And that actually came from Free Desktop. And last but not least in our open source related topics, we have it's a good month for free software with 3 major releases. Some guy named Rich wrote, the holiday season has brought us major releases of 3 lighthouse projects of the free software world. We'll see if anybody actually uses any of these things. The first one is Krita, which has reached version 5.0 on December 23rd, which means don't use it. I don't know what Krita is, or Krita, or whatever this thing is. What is it?
It's a SVG drawing app, I believe.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like Inkscape, something like that? Something along those lines?
I believe that would be the closest, yeah.
Okay. So... cool. If you use this, then you got a new release.
I must be delayed.
Yeah.
Oh, you're delayed again. Lovely.
It says Krita is a professional, free, and open source painting program.
Yeah, so it must be something like Inkscape. Like me says, Illustrator for artists, more brush type stuff. So, yeah, there you go. Excellent. And then also in the sort of artistic space, we have Blender, which is something I've tried using once upon a time. I think it's like a 3D rendering application. You can do like cartoony type stuff with it and anything 3D, which is what Blender is for. And then there's KiCad, which of course is CAD software. So there you go. If you're into any of those spaces, there are new releases of all this software. They're all .0 releases, so use at your own risk. And the final comment on this from the guy named Rich is the upgrades are significant, and these 3 applications already rule their domains at the entry level. How much further will they go? I guess we'll find out when they do updates. More updates to the .1, which is when you should start using any of these. And this came from Soylent News. I noticed a plethora during the holiday season of Soylent Green memes coming through Facebag.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
That's actually the first time I've seen this site, so I decided to include it because it seemed new to me, but it didn't look new.
Very cool. All right, we do have some stuff to talk about in our Linux in the Ham Shack segment, and the first of those Bill will cover, which is a new release of the WSJT-X product.
Yeah, the WSJT-X, or WSJT-X, for those of you that are counting at home. It's 2.5.4 general availability release. This is a bug fix release. It has the following changes since 2.5.3. WSJT-X has a repair a defect that caused occasional crashes when in a QSO with stations using non-standard call signs. Yay, special event call signs are now possibly fixed. Map65 also had a fix. It allows Map65 best fit Delta Phi. Sounds like a sorority or something. Solution to be displayed to the user. So a couple of interesting fixes. If those have applied to your usage of 2.5.3, you now have a new release to play with. And I noticed that my update and Arch actually updated to this yesterday. So yeah, it's out in the wild for you crazy Arch users, and probably Fedora has it. If not, you can just download it directly from the site. It seems that they've fixed their build stack, and they had everything up there available for download, including the latest debs and RPMs. So yeah, check out the latest release of WSJT-X. WSJT-X.
WSJT-X. Yeah, very cool. So I put in here, since we were kind of short on Linux and the Ham Shacky type topics, some experimentation I did yesterday alongside Tony, K4 XSS, with WFView, which, if you don't remember what that is, it's the ICOM software that's done by Elliot Liggett and others that creates a virtual interface for newer and some older ICOM radios. It's kind of geared toward the newer stuff, like the 7300, 7500, 9700, stuff like that, that has the ability to do the pan adapter and the waterfall and all that cool stuff. But it will run on older radios, or run with older radios like mine, the IC7100, which is also the radio that Tony has. And there was a new revision released in December, which is 1.2 Delta, which is listed as a beta. It does have some problems, but I'm really finding that it could be really useful when they work out the bugs, because it started locking up on me for no reason. But the ability for the remote control to work is the part I was experimenting with, and it's really, really cool. And like being able to have an interface to my radio on a remote machine is really nice. Plus, it passes the audio through, so you literally can have access to your rig for FT8 and for voice away from the control point. So it's a nice remote application in that sense. And one thing it also does is it creates a daemon for rig control D. So you can, instead of having a rig control D instance running in the background, you can actually use WFView to do rig control D, and then connect your applications to WFView. So you can have both running simultaneously without interfering with each other, which is really nice. And I had a Windows computer connected to a Linux computer. The Linux computer was the one connected to the radio, and the Windows computer was the remote one. And I was able to do most stuff, activate the tuner, change frequencies, link my WSJT-X to the radio through the remote link. Tony actually got it to where he was able to decode audio remotely. I didn't get that far. And then the local instance of WFView started to lock up frequently. So I'm not sure what's going on. But I'm hoping this will actually go forward and start being a really good way to get Cheryl in the air, because she can't really get into my office right now, which is where the radios are. So if we could get this front end connected to her computer, then she could get on the air without being in the room with the radios, which would be nice. So we're working sort of in that direction, and I think WFView is going to be the way we do it. It's just a little bit clunky and buggy right now, but they have done some major UI interface updates, so that's really nice. It looks much better. Things are sort of where they need to be. Configuration options make more sense, and it's much cleaner. Lots of good stuff in the 1.2 Delta, and looking forward to the next release where hopefully they clean up some of the issues. We will explore further on the program as time progresses. And you put in here any holiday happenings to share in this segment. I guess I guess
WFView was that, right?
Well, except that was yesterday. It was sort of after the holidays, but
that was in the break, right? So
right, it was definitely in the break. Yes.
I did buy my first DMR radio for my trip. but I'm still programming it, so nothing to report there.
Sounds about right for DMR, yeah.
Yeah, it does have cool software, so it's like I'm able to just plug everything in and hit upload, and all of a sudden it's like, bloop, I have all these memories and zones and areas and stuff like that. So still trying to figure all that out, but yeah, I only bought it because there's a lot of DMR apparently in Europe and in Ireland. So I bought a play toy to play with. So we'll see how well it works when I get there.
All right. Sounds good. Well, then I'll have to be on DMR with you because, we've got the reflectors and everything up. So we should definitely be able to connect with Ireland over DMR. No problems at all.
Sweet.
And yeah, the whole thing about like pre-programming the radio and then dumping the code plug, that sort of was like the biggest hurdle for me getting into DMR. But once you get over that hurdle, yeah, it's all super easy.
Cool. I can't wait.
Well, you haven't made it that far yet? You haven't had the epiphany?
Well, I have not transmitted and, well, actually, no, I take that back. There is a local DMR repeater and I have keyed it up. So I have confirmed that I could program it and get on the repeater side of it. I didn't actually join to the other channel that's already linked up somewhere else or something like that. So yeah, I still haven't done that, and I have absolutely no idea how to change it on the radio itself. So I still have to learn how that works. So yeah, I still have a way to go with that whole thing, but it's good enough for now. If I can just at least listen for the first few weeks, I'll be fine.
Good news then. So actually, that brings us down to the end of our topics for episode number 447. But that's not quite the end of the show, because we got to bring Cheryl in here at the very end to do the social media roundup. And unfortunately for her, since we've been gone a while, it has allowed the social media roundup list to sort of stack up. So take a deep breath and enjoy it.
Yeah, stack up is an understatement. So we start off our list with our Patreons, which is Reginald Addo, William Large, Steve Annis, Andy Cowley, Gary Tibbetts, David Scarf, David Slaughter, Jim Lawson, Patrick Eng, Douglas Schock, Eric Guth, Brandon Rozak, Michael Burdack, John Spriggs, Robert Lewis, Robert Pitts, David Jakeway, Darren King, Cubicle Nate, Samuel Vimes, Peter Caffrey, Don Rhodes, Paul Griffith, Jonas Rulo, Donald Gever, Herb Garcia, Steve Metcalf, William Heckelman, Randolph Smith, and Andy Webster. For our subscriptions, we have Vincent Martin, Bob Alberg, Paul Mooney, Craig Kryson, Sorry We've Missed You, Chris DeLuca, Eric Muller, Carl Backus, Isaac Gear, Thomas Foy, Michael Burdack, Kevin Ivey, Tony Coberly, Ronald Ike, Johnny Kinsey, Peter Spots, Fred Cole, Bill Piotr, Robert Halliday, Wayne Hell, John Clark, Steve Hepler, Michael Jopling, Howard Dittmer, Todd Bowers, Michael Carey, A. Taylor, Dylan Engel, Jim McKenzie, Bill Collins, Robert Black, Darren King, Randolph Smith, Robert Yerke, Steve Biella, Alan Wilson, Mark Farrell, and Jeff Zimmerman.
And before you go on, I just want to comment on the Craig Kryson thing. He joined as a PayPal subscriber in June, and this is the first time we mentioned it. So apologies there.
Yeah, massive apologies at that. So
yeah, not sure how you slipped through the cracks, Craig, but we've mentioned you now, and thanks for not
freaking out on us.
Freaking out and unsubscribing or whatever in all this in those 6 months. But and just in case anyone hasn't been keeping track, which most of you, I'm sure, if not all of you, I'm sure are not, that brings our number of paid subscribers to 67. So I have to say thank you to all of you. I can't believe 67 people are willing to give us money to listen to this crap.
Wow.
Hey, we've never been anything but self-deprecating on this show. That's
true.
So, but thanks really one and all for supporting us financially. It's actually between Patreon and the PayPal subscriptions and stuff is going to allow us to be able to do some pretty good giveaways here coming up soon. And it may, in fact, allow us to get to Hamvention without having to do a fundraiser.
Provided Hamvention actually happens.
Right. But yeah. But all the years we've done Hamvention, we've had to do a fundraiser to get the additional funds that we need in order to make the trip. But we may actually be able to do it entirely on monthly donations now. So that's pretty cool. All right, that's enough of that. You can go ahead and continue with the list because Facebook's pretty long.
Yeah, Facebook is long. So starting out our Facebook friends, we have Michael Leonard Farkas, Marshall Van Wagner III, Christopher Patrick Welker, TJ Johnston, Jared Brown, Darren Moss, Martin Gardner, Flom Wellman, Ken Bell, James Webb III, Anthony Stein, Amlan Chatterjee, Kurt Zimmerman, Matthew Sparks, Bernard Muller-Time, Gene Manville.
You recognize that name?
Yes, that's our friend Bernie.
Yes, I know. I'm not sure he's actually listening to the program, but he did join us on Facebook. Yeah, he liked us on Facebook,
yeah. Wendell Holbrooks, Jackson Harvey, Patrick LaPointe, Duke D. Leedy, Michael Carey, Robert White, James Booth, and Richard Donahue. On Twitter, we had at Gerald N883111212, at World Beyond 7121, at Guru Stave, at Kylie AA0Z, and at GOV or G0VJG. On YouTube, we had Longfeather127, Gustav Michael, Kuber Koos, Derek Trounce, and Bob Locy. On Discord, we had F4CPY_Didier. No one joined us on the mailing list, and no merchandise sales.
All right, very cool. Well, you know what? That brings us down through our first non-weekender of the new year, 2022. So we want to thank everybody who's still with us after the year's rolled over. We hope you had a great holiday season and a great new year, and it's been going pretty well for the first week here. Things are pretty good here, and it looks like, you know, Bill is actually going to make it to Ireland. And so
we'll see. Still, you know, you never know. We could all fail our test right before we leave, and then, you know, have to stay a few weeks.
Well, we'll see how that goes, but please pay attention to the website and to the social media networks where we will update when we will be doing live recordings, so you can keep up with that. And with that said, we'll continue to do the show one way or the other until, you know, the end of time or something. But that brings us down to the actual end of the show. This has been our Short Topics episode, the very first one of 2022, episode number 447 of Linux in the Ham Shack. And we can mention the folks in the chat room. We had Darren, VK60K, Ted, WA0EIR, Anthony, N0WJE, Dan, KB6NU, Bike Me, and Tony, K4XSS. Thanks all for being here. Have a great week, and hope to catch you for the next one. I'm Russ, K5TUX.
I'm Cheryl, W5MOO.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD 73.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Linux in the Ham Shack. LHS is a community-sponsored podcast. The show is recorded live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Time, ± QRL. Connect to the live stream at url.bcts.info/LHS Live. Our website is located at lhspodcast.info. You can support the podcast by visiting the LHS Patreon page at patreon.com/LHS Podcast, or by using the contribute list on the homepage. Get in touch via social media. We have a presence on Discord, Facebook, IRC, Twitter, and YouTube. Our IRC channel is #LHS Podcast on the Freenode network, and the Discord invite link is url.bcts.info/Discord. You can also drop us an email at info@lhspodcast.info, or leave us a voicemail at 1-909-LHS Show. That's 1-909-547-7469. Visit the online LHS merchandise store at shop.lhspodcast.info for fun and fashionable show-themed merchandise. Become an ambassador and represent LHS at a local Linux convention or Hamfest. Email ambassadors@lhspodcast.info for more information, or visit the homepage for details. Until next time, remember to always heed your hedonism.